Comrades, we have all stood beside the workers of Wisconsin who have stood up to the ruling class and its running dogs in the Republican Party for their attacks on the living standards, benefits, and wages of workers inside Wisconsin. We stood back in amazement as even police officers joined the protesters against the actions of the ruling class. Republican Governor Scott Walker has ended the collective bargaining power of state workers, meaning basically they can't do anything anymore. And state unions are being dissolved and union jobs are being destroyed. And this is the inevitable result of capitalism's influence on the state and the nation. Now, we all thought that all of this was just to be able to outsource labor, send it to private companies so you can take people who had well-paying full-time jobs with benefits and reduce them to minimum wage part-time employees with no benefits, all in the guise, all for the real reason of making profit. Well, as it turns out, they actually had something much worse in mind: a return to slavery. Last week, a new law went into effect having prisoners, inmates, doing painting, landscaping, stuff like that. The city worker jobs. Prisoners are now being forced to do that work. It seems just paying a worker minimum wage isn't even enough anymore. Now it's to take people and literally force them to do it because they're incarcerated. And one really disgusting aspect of this is that 40% of the prison population is black and 20% Hispanic, which means essentially minorities, particularly African Americans, are being used as slaves again. Slavery has returned to Wisconsin in 2011. It appears the forces of supply and demand are equalizing themselves. There was a demand for slave labor that barely had to be paid, so I guess the market found a way to create slave labor, filling that demand. And that demand is going to be filled now that more people are going to jail because of new Republican laws. The answer to the global capitalist crisis is not even to find a new way for capitalism to operate. It's to literally go back to slavery. I mean, why not? Slavery worked very, very well for the founding fathers, the vast majority of whom were land-owning slave owners. So they pretty much just went back to the roots, back to real capitalism of 1776. Work has been taken away from workers and given to virtual slaves. What used to happen was, if you had a job and you demanded a better living standard, more money, or anything like that, you were fired. Now, if you're working for these guys in the prison system, if you make such a demand like that, you don't just get fired or removed from your job. You get solitary confinement. Clearly, this is a further extension of fascism into the daily working lives of the people. As the global capitalist crisis continues and the situation becomes worse and becomes more desperate because of the inherent instability and the fact that capitalism just doesn't work, the words spoken by Vladimir Lenin all that time ago are as much true today as when they were originally spoken.